𝗲𝗵𝗂𝘀 and a very warm welcome to Bhutan this week, our weekly news magazine program with me, 𝗕𝗵𝗂𝘀 Hladen. Our top stories this week. Full ordination of over 260 nuns presided over by His Holiness the 𝗂𝗵𝗂𝘀 concludes with nuns offering 𝗬𝗵𝗂𝘀 mandala. Sacred mandala dismantled and dissolved into 𝗬𝗰𝗀, bringing Kala Chakra empowerment to a close. And Bhutan's rising fuel import cancel out gains from hydropower export, report suggests energy efficiency and cleaner alternatives. Presided over by His Holiness the 𝗂𝗵𝗂𝘀, the Gelongma or full ordination for nuns concluded on Thursday. Her Majesty Queen Mother Tsiriyande Wangchu and members of the royal family also graced the ceremony. From November 15 to 19, more than 260 nuns took the Gelongma vows. The participants included novice nuns from Bhutan and 14 other countries. At the closing ceremony, the newly ordained Gelongmas offered the 𝗬𝗵𝗂𝘀 along with longevity prayers to His Holiness the 𝗂𝗵𝗂𝘀 and Her Majesty the Queen Mother. The ordination marks the continuation of Bhutan's efforts to revive and promote full ordination for women in the Buddhist monastic tradition. The first such ceremony was held in 2022.
마지막에 결론마기 들심 좀 집에로라 데 숨자 tukchure jide chi dola te phama zum chi bero te ge do session bela te hamma de ngishudu te ngachi gelo phada mabeuda te ngachi gelo magi dinam sami mam do session bela te sunjalera beru kachle beru te phada madi mapalera midhese te ngachira gelo matsuma te namgi leshum me sul jindube sunsup do zum chi beba chin ngacharalu te gewadi nachile mabedi besichirura te 𝗳𝗵𝗂𝘀𝘀 sessionila te dibadi chungu chile mabedi besichiroete ngachara gewa bedozumera te anizumigi yani ngibaete debera ome session bela.
The Kala Chakra mandala was dismantled last Sunday and was dissolved into the 𝗬𝗰𝗀 River, marking the conclusion of the Kala Chakra empowerment. The ritual Kilkhorduni and Chushani Lerim was led by 𝗵𝗵𝗂𝗀𝗀 of the June Ratha.
The mandala, constructed by monks over many days with precise and disciplined practice, represents the enlightened realm of Kala Chakra. Its creation is an act of deep spiritual devotion, and its dismantling underscores a central Buddhist teaching on impermanence, where even the most sacred and carefully created forms are ultimately transient. The mandala was dissolved into the 𝗲𝗰, an act believed to carry its accumulated blessings outward, purifying the environment and promoting peace and harmony. The ceremony follows a November filled with spirituality and blessings. The global peace prayers and the commemoration of the 70th birth anniversary of His Majesty the 4th Drupal drew unprecedented participation, with over 100,000 people attending at their peak. Thousands thronged 𝗬𝗵𝘂𝘁 and received blessings at 𝗬𝗵𝘂𝘀, where the 𝗪𝗵𝘄𝘀 took place in the presence of countless devotees. The historic ordination of Buddhist nuns from around the world further deepened the significance of this period. Together, these events transformed Thimphu into a global center of spirituality, drawing people from around the world seeking blessings, peace, and spiritual renewal. The prayers were held with the collective aspiration for peace and happiness for all the world. With the dismantling complete, the Kala Chakra cycle is formally closed, its spiritual essence considered fully bestowed upon the participants and the surroundings. 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝘀 for 𝗵𝗶𝘴𝗀 News.
Drug-related offences continue to dominate Bhutan's criminal landscape. The Office of the Attorney General's annual report for January 2024 to June 2025 shows that the office handled 410 cases of illicit trafficking and abuse of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. These offences make up nearly one-third of all cases forwarded to the OAG by the police.
Out of nearly 1,400 cases the OAG received, 410 involved illicit trafficking and abuse of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. This is an increase from around 350 cases in 2023. The report says authorities seized more than 68,000 SP+ and N10 tablets, along with over 2,100 grams of cannabis. Drug-related cases continue to weigh heavily on the OAG's workload. They have added to enforcement backlog, made it harder to recover restitution from offenders serving prison terms, and increased the number of pending enforcement actions. The total number of cases received by the OAG also rose by more than 420 compared to 2023. Out of these cases, the police referred over 1,300, the Anti-Corruption Commission sent 40, and various ministries and agencies submitted around 20. Among the ACC referrals, embezzlement was the most common offense, followed by bribery and abuse of function, involving misuse of authority for personal or political gain. So far, the OAG has closed around 950 cases, appealed 65, kept over 80 under review, and returned about 40. The rest remain under trial. The Property and Judgment Enforcement Division received more than 1,100 cases and recovered over 36 million items in restitution. 𝗪𝗫𝗫𝗀𝗫, 𝗵𝗵𝘴𝑀 News.
Bhutan is witnessing a rising number of children coming into conflict with the law. Police statistics show that more than 100 cases were recorded in the first half of the year. To safeguard the well-being of these children, as well as others facing challenging circumstances, the country has launched a new initiative called Strengthening Community-Based Child Protection System. The project has already begun in Dagana, Samtsi, and Chukha, aiming to provide local support and protection through community involvement.
Nh Lamten, a CSO providing protection and facilitation for marginalized children and youth, conducted a consultation workshop in Dagana yesterday as part of its preparations to implement the project. The project will be rolled out in Lajja and 𝗲𝗵𝘂𝘁 Geoks next month. These Geoks were selected based on the Multidimensional Poverty Index for children aged 0 to 17, as identified in the Bhutan Living Standard Survey 2022. Each Geok will form a community child protection team with 5 to 7 members. 80% of the members will come from the community, while the remaining will be civil servants working in the Geok. The members will undergo a week-long training facilitated by Nh Lamten on case reporting, early identification and safe referrals. At the Geok level,
Teams will report cases to their respective 𝗲𝗂𝗀, which will then forward them to the district administration.
It's not that there is not a proper reporting mechanism. It already exists, but there is no proper system way of reporting the child protection cases. So this project will initiate a proper child reporting mechanism, establishing from community to 𝗲𝗂𝗀 till the 𝗂𝗂𝗀. So in that way, the protection system will be established and reporting mechanism will be established at the same time.
He said involving the community and the district administration will help ensure that children's views are considered in child protection work and will build a stronger community ownership, making the initiative more sustainable. He added that some cases still go unreported because there is no proper system for reporting them.
In one of the incidents from one community, they reported case all the way to 𝗵𝗂𝗁 Secretariat. And then the same cases were reported in multiple places, to the multiple agency like Renew, National Lumpkin. So in that way, it created a confusion in 𝗵𝗂𝗁. So in due process, the service was not delivered on time.
National Lumpkin is implementing the project in collaboration with key stakeholders, including the 𝗵𝗂𝗁 Secretariat, the National Commission for Women and Children, and UNICEF in Dagana. Meanwhile, Renew is carrying out similar projects in 𝗬𝗵𝗂𝗀 and 𝗀𝗀. For 𝗵𝗂𝗀𝗀 in Dagana, Sunampem for BBS News.
Over 1,000 children in Bhutan are estimated to be born prematurely in a year. Preterm birth, a child born before 37 weeks, is the leading cause of death among children below the age of 5. It is also the leading cause of child disability. The Health Ministry said infant deaths due to prematurity are often due to delayed care, incomplete hospital visits before birth, and limited access to early intervention. To know more about the story, our reporter 𝗕𝗵𝗂𝗀𝗀 spoke with Dr. Dinesh Pradhan on Monday, which is observed as the World Prematurity Day.
What causes preterm birth?
There are some known causes of prematurity, preterm births. Supposing a mother has twins or triplets, or if she has a lot of amniotic fluid, the water surrounding the baby, or if she has other medical conditions like high blood pressure or diabetes, and then that puts the mother at risk of having a preterm baby. But in more than 50% of cases, we don't even know why the mother has a preterm birth.
So what are the most common health challenges that a premature babies face during the first week of their life?
So a baby right after birth may not breathe, so we may have to assist the baby in breathing. Because the lungs are immature, these babies tend to have difficulty in breathing, so we need to take them to the ICU and give them some breathing support. Since their stomach and intestine are not very well developed, we cannot give them a lot of milk at a time. So we have to give them some IV fluids and start minimal amount of tube feedings. The babies also have a very immature immune system. They don't have the mechanism to protect themselves from disease. And because their brains are very fragile, there might be a bleeding in the brain. Sometimes their hearts are very weak. They don't pump blood adequately throughout the body. So these are some challenges which they face immediately over the first 3 or 7 days. And moving forward, they tend to remain in the ICU for a long time. The more premature the baby, the smaller the baby, they may remain in the ICU from anywhere between 1 or 3 months. And during that period, it's a roller coaster. The parents also have a very difficult time because they have to be with their babies for 1 month, 2 months, up to 3 months sometimes. So it's a very emotional roller coaster for the parents as well.
When you talk about the care for the preterm babies, we are also gonna have to talk about how important this early intervention are. And even after they are out from the ICU, they will have to do follow-up, right?
Yeah, so the Bhutan Every Newborn Action Plan envisions that all babies not only survive but also thrive and realize their full potential. So for that, a baby has to not only survive the initial NICU period, a preterm baby has to survive and also be able to see, hear, be able to walk and be functionally independent, and also talk and have a normal intelligence. This is what we call an intact survival. So for that to happen, after we discharge the baby from the NICU, we keep them on a regular follow-up, sometimes every few months, sometimes up to 6 months if everything's going well. We keep them on follow-up for at least 2 years. And during that period, if we find any delays in terms of their walking, their talking, or movements, then we put them on either physiotherapy, occupational therapy, or speech therapy so that they can catch up with their other peers. It's very important for parents to bring these children for follow-up so that we can catch these developmental delays early and put them on intervention early.
How much is our neonatal care system equipped to manage complications associated with preterm birth?
There are only 3 neonatal ICUs in the country, which is in 𝗕𝗵𝘂𝘁, Mongar and 𝗕𝗵𝘂. And apart from that, there are some the hospitals which we call cluster hospitals which have pediatricians, but they are not really equipped to have a neonatal ICU. And even the neonatal ICUs in Mongar and 𝗕𝗵𝘂 are not as well equipped as we are in 𝗕𝗵𝘂. So from an equity and justice point of view, we would like to have all the newborn ICUs at the same level. So for that, with the Ministry of Health and the National Medical Services, we are trying to come up with a standard of services. So what level of services and equipment and medication should be there at each level of facility, what kind of babies and patients they are supposed to take care of, and also from a capacity building point of view, what are the nurses and doctors, what are the trainings that they are supposed to get.
What steps can an expectant mother take to reduce the risk of preterm birth?
So we would suggest that all couples plan their pregnancies, they come for the preconceptional care and screen the mother for any medical issues. If she has any medical issues like high blood pressure or high blood sugar or heart disease or kidney disease, those conditions need to be optimized before she gets pregnant. And then after she gets pregnant, she should come for all the antenatal care visits, the 8 recommended visits, and take all the supplements. For example, since last year, the Ministry of Health has started something called maternal micronutrient supplement, which is also proven to be very beneficial to reduce prematurity. And since last year, we have started something called low-dose aspirin for high-risk women. So women who are at risk of developing high blood pressure in pregnancy, we put them on low-dose aspirin right from a few months of pregnancy till they are 36 weeks, so that they don't get the high blood pressure, and then thus we can prevent prematurity. And apart from that, mother needs to be healthy overall, so she should take a nutritious diet. She should stay away from all the substances like alcohol, tobacco, smoking, and also doma.
Bhutan's rising dependence on imported fuel is offsetting the gains from its hydropower exports. This is despite a 12% growth in hydropower exports last year. According to the National Statistics Bureau's Environmental Accounts report, the country needs to improve energy efficiency and explore cleaner alternatives to reduce its reliance on fuel imports.
Bhutan exported 5,470 gigawatt-hours of electricity last year, earning nearly 20 billion 𝗎, an increase of 12% from 2023. However, the country also imported electricity worth about 5.9 billion 𝗎, almost double the amount imported in 2023. The report shows that domestic electricity use jumped by nearly 29%, mostly driven by industrial consumption. The manufacturing sector alone consumed more than 3/4 of all electricity used within the country. Despite being a net exporter of clean energy, Bhutan still depends entirely on imported fossil fuels for its fuel needs. What the country gained in hydropower has been spent almost as much on fuel. Bhutan imported over 15 billion 𝗎 worth of petrol and diesel last year, up by more than 35%. However, not all imported fuel stays in Bhutan. Nearly 35,000 kiloliters were re-exported, fuel consumed by Indian vehicles operating inside Bhutan or refueling in border towns. The report stated that while Bhutan's hydropower sector continues to drive growth, the country's growing dependency for imported fuel could undercut those gains in the long term unless alternative energy solutions are strengthened. Hydropower may still be Bhutan's economic powerhouse, but as fuel imports soar, the question remains of how sustainable is Bhutan's energy advantage. Namgedem, BBS News.
The Bhutan Food and Drug Authority has suspended Yuthok Traditional Pharmacy in Thimphu for 3 months after inspectors found it repeatedly selling unregistered traditional medicines last month. According to the Health Ministry, the pharmacy was found selling unregistered traditional medicines during all 4 inspection rounds carried out by the authority. as these medicines were neither registered nor verified by the authority, and their quality, safety, and efficacy could not be guaranteed. Yuthok Traditional Pharmacy, established in 2000, now remains sealed. The pharmacy was suspended on 28th of last month. According to the Health Ministry, the authority carried out the inspection on 24th of last month after the Department of Public Health found high lead levels in traditional medicines sold at the pharmacy during sampling and testing. The Health Ministry further stated that besides selling unregistered medicines, the owner of the pharmacy obstructed drug inspectors during official inspections. The owner also repeatedly failed to carry out his duties and responsibilities as a certified competent person. A certified competent person oversees the sale and distribution of medicinal products.
About 80 containers of my medicines were seized. I was then fined 43,000 𝗪𝗏. I paid the fine, accepting it, but requested that the seized medicines be returned to me since I had purchased them for 1.2 million 𝗪𝗏 and was expecting to earn about 1.5 million 𝗪𝗏 from them. However, the medicines were not returned, and I was later informed that they had all been destroyed.
The Health Ministry also received public complaints about the pharmacy charging high prices for its traditional medicines. The owner said he was fined for overcharging on 2 medicines. He claimed that although he paid the fine, the medicines were not returned. The pharmacy's owner said that in May this year, the Bhutan Food and Drug Authority had embargoed 61 bottles of traditional medicinal products for failing to produce proper documentations. The authority had given him 6 months to register the embargoed products.
I was informed that for registration, all tests for heavy metals, including lead, must be conducted. Testing for 80 medicinal products would cost around 3 million 𝗪𝗏. So far, I have completed testing for 48 medicinal products, which cost me about 1 million 𝗪𝗏. I submitted the results on 3rd November.
He added that despite being given 6 months until 21st November to register the embargoed medicinal products, the inspectors visited his pharmacy unexpectedly and suspended his business. He now plans to appeal to the authority. According to the Medicines Act, all medicinal products manufactured, sold, distributed, imported, and exported from Bhutan must be registered with the authority. Bhutan Food and Drug Authority, under the oversees all places that make, sell, or distribute medicines, including traditional ones. If inspections find violations, the authority acts to ensure that only safe and effective medicines are available to the public in the country. 𝗕𝗵𝗂𝗀𝗸, 𝗵𝗶ＨS News. That's all we have for this week. Thank you for watching.